Um, I just had an amazing Easter dinner, so it was awesome. Love the hair. Thanks. Did you guys do any like egg hunts today or anything with your family? Like threw out some Easter eggs in your yard? I did that. That was pretty fun. Sunshine made it amazing. It was a great day. The last couple days have been amazing. Like a lot of sun. Really good. I like that. Welcome in everybody. We'll start here in just a sec. Welcome. Hope you guys are enjoying your Easter. I just got back not too long ago. Well, I guess it's been a couple hours, but just got back from helping with the food drive and clothing drive and all that. That was amazing to see so many church members just come and drive by and drop off so many items that are going to go to help so many people. So it was awesome to see that. So now I'm excited that we get to dive deeper into Jeremy's message and just you watched the whale blow up in service. That was a cool ending to the service today. Unfortunately, for the recap here for Sunday Night Live, we're not going to show that video. But if you didn't catch that, definitely go to alcpnw.com and rewatch the messages. You'll be able to see that amazing footage of Oregon's history. All right. Well, now that we got a bunch of people in here, and I got my special guests with us, we're going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to go ahead and invite everybody up, and we're going to introduce the students that we're going to have on the feed today. So let me go ahead and invite here. Let's invite our first contestant. All right, now I've been sent the invite, and we are waiting.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Could you introduce yourself to those that are watching, and then tell us how long you've been at Abundant Life and what your favorite Easter candy is?
Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm supposed to say, but you're breaking up really bad, so I'm just gonna go with what I'm pretty sure. My name is Skyla, and I've been going to ALC for a really long time, and my favorite Easter candy is the mini Cadbury eggs that have like the weird shell and like the little chocolate in the middle. I think they're really good. And also, hi guys.
Welcome, welcome. All right, well, thanks for sharing. We'll go ahead and invite you up in just a little bit.
Okay.
All right, now for our second contestant, let's go ahead and invite him up. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Would you introduce yourself to those who are watching? Tell us how long you've been at Abundant Life and what your favorite Easter candy is.
Hello, my name is Justin Foster. I've been going to Abundant Life, since like the third grade. I don't know how many years that is, but a while. And my favorite Easter candy, do you know robin eggs? You know those tiny little robin eggs? They're like chocolate with like a
They got like little rice cracker in there or whatever?
I don't know I don't know what it's called on the middle, but it's like my favorite Easter candy. They're delicious.
It's kind of like a Crunch Bar though, right?
Yes, it's like a Crunch Bar, but better.
I didn't know the name of it, but yes, I've had those. I absolutely love those. Those are great.
They're delicious.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and invite our next person up. All right. Okay, I sent the invite off. And now we invite him up. Welcome, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Would you go ahead and introduce yourself to those that are watching and then tell us about how long you've been at Abundant Life and what your favorite Easter candy is?
All right. So my name is Benjamin Johnson, and I've probably been going to ALC for like 10 years at least. So That's pretty cool. And honestly, I might offend some, but my favorite Easter candy. I don't really like Easter candy that much. So that's just my opinion on that. There's never really been an Easter candy that I like, you know? It's just how I feel. The only Easter candy I like is the big chocolate bunnies, of course. Like you have to like those.
Like, not even like the Reese's peanut butter cup that's shaped in an egg?
I mean, yes, because I love Reese's peanut butter cups, but they taste the same. So they're basically the same thing. I mean,
No, they taste
yeah,
completely different.
they're the same.
Completely.
They're the same thing. So yeah.
No. I'm totally offended. So
Wow.
offended.
Oh, sorry
All right.
about that.
It's all good. Well, thanks, Ben, for joining us. I'm going to invite you back in just a little bit.
All right.
So thanks for being with us.
Yep.
All right, so glad that all of you guys are here. So yeah, we've got Skyla, Justin, and Benjamin to join us as we will dive deeper into the message. So basically, every Sunday at 7 o'clock, one of us student pastors is going to go ahead and jump up on here and go live with some students, just like those ones that we just got introduced to. We'll dive into the message and really talk about it, and it's going to be super awesome. And so to lead into Sunday Night Live, we're encouraging you guys to check out the Sunday sermon at 10 a.m. You can go to live.alcpnw.com. And you can go ahead and join us at 10 a.m. and then join us back here on Instagram at 7. So let's recap the Sunday message from Pastor Jeremy, and we'll go ahead and dive deep into that. So, as one of you stated in the comments section a little earlier about the whale that blew up, Jeremy started us off with this analogy and talking about what happened many years ago, like in the 70s in Oregon's history. A whale carcass washed up on the beach, and there was many different ways and ideas of how to get rid of this dead whale. And for whatever reason, they decide to stick half a ton of TNT or something like that inside the whale, and they blew it up, and it went everywhere. So it was kind of a bad decision. So after that analogy, he kind of talked about a big problem for us, maybe not a washed up whale, or maybe it is in your life. A big problem for us in this season of quarantine is the feeling of guilt. And that feeling of guilt can look a lot different, and it's unique to each one of us. But you may feel guilty because maybe like with what Ben and Julia talked about a few weeks ago, that maybe your problems aren't as big as other people that you know, and so it's like, I don't really want to talk about it because I feel like theirs is bigger than mine. Maybe that's one of your guilts. Maybe another one that you're feeling is now that you're at home, you've got a lot of time on your hands, and so maybe you're not being as productive as, say, other people in your life, and you compare to that, and you're like, I'm feeling guilty because I'm just sitting at home doing nothing when I could be maybe cleaning my room or doing yard work. For some of us, I think in our personal faith, sometimes we have this thing called guilt management. And so when we feel guilty for something that we've done or the lack thereof, we go back to God and we think, okay, well, let's balance out the scales. There's been a little bit of guilt, and now I need to go get a little bit of God and do some Bible study or praying or whatever it is, and he will balance it out and make us feel better. And so that leads to questions like, how good do I actually have to be? How many good things do I need to make up for the bad that I've done? And when you play games like that, when you look at faith as guilt management, it's a really exhausting and hard game to play, and it can eat at us in the inside. So this is not a solution to our problem, and it isn't how Jesus wants us to live. See, Pastor Jeremy said this morning, he said, our guilt and shame cause us to live as if like Easter never happened. I mean, think about that. Think about if Easter never happened. See, Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 17, and if Christ had not been raised, then your faith is useless and you are still guilty of your sins. So what are we celebrating today is the complete opposite of that. Jesus, he was raised from the dead, which means that our faith is useful and we're not guilty anymore. So everything that we've done in the past, everything that we've done, like Jesus paid for that with his death and resurrection. We experience Jesus by focusing on the hope and the person of Jesus instead of getting caught up in that guilt management. We have to live in that hope, live in the person of Jesus. See, the power of Jesus' resurrection, it allows us to experience life with Jesus now, and one that is free of guilt. So that was the message, and that brought about some questions that I thought were really great things to ask. And so we've got our students with us that are going to join us and talk about these and really dive deeper into this message. And hopefully something sticks out to you, and hopefully the things that we're talking about, the things that the other students are going through, they stick with you. And maybe this gives you some encouragement and some hope to get through the week. Because I know being quarantined, it's unique for all of us, and it's definitely weird. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and invite our first student up. I'm going to go ahead and invite Benjamin. So let me go ahead and send the invite here real quick. All right, Benjamin's going to join us. Welcome back, Ben.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
So with what I just recapped from this morning's message, what do you feel like are some areas of your life that you might be feeling guilty right now?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one for me and a lot of other Christians in specific is that you always feel like there's this pressure on you to be basically the best Christian you can be, as close enough to God as you can be, like just like so far along in your spiritual journey, and you really compare yourself to other Christians in that way. Like, I need to be closer to God. I need to read my Bible more. I need to pray more. I need to do all these things that will get me closer to God so I can be better than other Christians. And so the way I feel guilty is that basically the fact that I haven't done those steps, and that I feel like that I kind of haven't purposely taken those steps to get closer to Him and travel along my spiritual journey. I feel guilty about that.
Well, thanks for sharing with us. I know,
Yes.
I think we're all, I guess saying guilty again, but like we're all kind of like we've compared ourselves to other people, and definitely it's a hard game to play. But thanks for sharing, Ben, and we're gonna go ahead and invite Justin up here. So thank you.
See you later.
All right, let me go ahead and get Justin up here. Welcome back, Justin. So just like with what Ben was sharing, I asked, what are some areas in your life right now that you're feeling guilty about?
One thing that Jeremy mentioned in his sermon today that really resonated with me just was the fact that people are feeling guilty about like a lack of productivity. because I myself am just struggling with like, well, I don't have a job. School's basically over for me. I'm graduated as a senior now, essentially. And so I'm kind of just playing video games and talking to my friends. And I'm just struggling and wrestling with like, I don't feel like I'm getting enough done. Like I feel like I should be doing more, or I should be bettering myself, or learning a skill, like Jeremy said, doing something with my time rather than just feeling like I'm wasting time. And it's just it's been a struggle. And when he talked about that, it really it hit me. I was like, wow, I don't feel like I'm really doing anything, and I've been struggling with that, which has been really hard.
I definitely feel you there too. Like with my schedule in the week for work, like there's some days that are super heavy days where I'm working an 8-hour day, and now that we've gone completely online, like I've spaced my hours out through the week, and so when that day hits, like I'm like, I wasn't productive today. Am I gonna get in trouble for this? But I'm like, no, I'm doing more things through the week. So I definitely feel you. We're all filling in this weird season, but thank you for sharing that. And so definitely, like, that leads into our second question. You know, in that feeling of guilt, like, what are some things that you've used to like help yourself feel better inside instead of like feeling that guilt of lack of productivity?
Yeah. One thing, I've just been really like taking passion and enjoying the moments where I have been able to do something. Being on student leadership, I've gotten to be a part of a few different projects we're working on, and like doing worship with Main Stage as well as just for students, and other stuff we've been working on. I've been really enjoying like those moments, instead of sometimes I know work doesn't seem like the most fun for a lot of people. Just really taking passion into those projects that I get to do, and enjoying those has really been helping me. And also just kind of leaning into Jesus in this moment, like realizing that, hey, sometimes I'm stuck and I'm uncomfortable, and that's okay. Like I'm allowed to feel this way, and just leaning into where Jesus is going to take me in that.
Well, thank you for sharing. I definitely think that gives us some encouragement. So thank you. We'll go ahead and invite Skyla up here. All right, let me send the invite.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back, Scott.
Thank you.
So just as we were so just as we were talking with Justin, I asked, what are some things that you've used to help yourself feel better instead of like feeling guilty in the season?
Well, the thing that I've been struggling with the most like this week was with school, because my school got like all released this week, and I was feeling like really frustrated with them because I was like, because I go to two different schools, and I felt like one of my schools wasn't like taking into consideration the other school that I go to, so I was really frustrated. And then I had to just remind myself that nobody really knows what to do, and everybody's trying to like figure this out for the students, like all of the administration is, and everybody's trying to figure it out together. And so like I've been trying to keep just like an open mind and understand that like I'm not the only student that's frustrated with them, and I know that they're frustrated with the entire like half school year is not going to happen anymore. And so I think that that's kind of what I've been doing to feel better, is just like reminding myself that it's not just me that feels frustrated, and that I'm allowed to feel frustrated about it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that really helps, knowing that we're all in this together. And so again, thank you for joining us on this Sunday Night Live, because definitely that helps other people feel the same, that they're reminded, we're not in this alone, we're in this together. And then that leads into, my third question. Have you ever felt that your faith is helping you manage your guilt? And then, like, if that is how you've done it, like, how has that worked out over time?
So for me, I think I used to feel like I had to kind of like balance myself out. So like if I didn't pray one night, like pray in the morning because I forgot. And if I didn't pray in the morning, then like pray twice as long at night because I just like was sucking at life at that moment. And then like with like the Bible, like I didn't read the Bible yesterday, so I'm gonna read it twice as much today. And I realized that I'm never gonna win this battle because no matter how hard I try, I'm always gonna sin in one way or another and not living up to like my full expectations. And it's a battle that I'll never ever be able to win. So like for me, it's just like reminding myself that, like Jesus died on the cross for the things that I like that I shouldn't do or that I like wasn't able to do or something like that. And so it helps me to be like, well, it's okay. And there's so much going on in the world that sometimes it's just so overwhelming to add these things that like they should help you, but even could make it even more overwhelming for me, I guess. And so for me, I've just been like reminding myself lately, especially that like I'm never gonna win a battle against against Jesus, especially because that man has a lot of powers and I just don't. I wish I did, but I don't. And so managing it like and becoming like balancing it doesn't work for me. I just know like doing what I can will make a difference in my relationship with him. And he's not going to hold me to higher expectations than somebody else. And he loves me for me. So, yeah.
I definitely love what you said there just a little bit ago that, you know, if you say, you know, you're going to read today and you forget, and then you read twice as much tomorrow and then you forget, and then you have to read 4 times as much the next week, like it's a battle that you're never going to win. I've felt that in my own life. Like I've accidentally gone like a week without picking up the Bible, and then like I can't read like a whole book in one sitting. Like it's never a battle. But I love that you say that, you know, it's like Jesus doesn't hold us to like you have to be perfect and do all this. Like, so thank you. That's great perspective. So thank you, Skyla.
Yes, you're welcome.
I'm gonna go ahead and invite Justin up here real quick.
Okay.
All right. There we go. Welcome back. So just like with what Skyla was saying and stuff, have you ever felt that like your faith is just helping you manage your guilt? And if so, like, has that worked over time? Like, how has it?
For me personally, I don't feel like I've ever used it as a tool to manage my guilt, but I definitely feel like I've felt some faith-related guilt in a way. Just in the thought, Jeremy mentioned this today in his sermon too, like not feeling like you're a good enough Christian, feeling like, oh, I don't read my Bible enough. Oh, I'm not praying enough. And just trying to set like either an unrealistic standard for yourself or just like putting unneeded guilt on yourself. I definitely been guilty of that one. I definitely have struggled with, just feeling like, oh, maybe I'm not doing all I can to be the best Christian I can be, which is, I think, an unfair thing to do for anybody to themselves.
I definitely think so too. And, you know, Ben and Skyla touched on that too. And I think one of the hardest times when I was first starting this faith thing off is like, I look at like my friends and like people and like, they could just like talking about God, like talk themselves into crying and like be so wholeheartedly passionate about it. And then like, I can't get there. So I guess I'm a terrible Christian because I'm not on that same wavelength. And that was a hard battle. So I definitely think we all feel that. And so I definitely like, you know, like what Skyla was saying is like, Jesus doesn't hold us to that standard. He's like, he likes us just as we are. So thank you for that. And that leads into my next question. How can we experience the hope of Jesus so that we're just not managing our guilt, but instead we can like experience life?
Just thinking about this question, the first thing that popped into my mind was, where are you keeping your focus? And for me, it was like, whenever I'm having a rough time struggling with guilt of any means, whether it's like I'm not being a good enough Christian or I'm not being productive enough or anything like that, it's always because I've been focusing too much of my attention on I'm lacking somewhere, I'm not getting enough done, just focusing on negative things. And just if you keep your focus on the negative, that's all you're going to see in yourself. Versus like if you start pointing your focus towards positive things like, hey, I didn't do great yesterday, but there's always tomorrow. I can do great tomorrow. And just keeping your focus on, hey, I know I don't do great all the time, but Jesus forgives me anyway. And I know that like there's always growth there, is going to keep you on an upward slope and just keep you doing well.
What a great perspective and way to look into that. Thank you, Justin. All right, I'm going to go ahead and invite Benjamin up here for us. All right, let's bring Benjamin back. Welcome back, Benjamin.
Good evening.
Good evening. I like how you started there.
Yeah.
So with what, Justin and I were talking about, for you, like how can we experience Jesus so we're not managing our guilt, so that we can experience life?
Yeah. So I think a really big thing for that is just remembering that, like Jeremy said in his message, is that Jesus literally died on the cross. So our sins, not that they don't matter, but basically, they're washed away. So the guilt we feel for maybe doing those sins or doing things wrong, it's all just, he literally died on the cross for that specific reason. So just remembering that he's got us. He already had us. He will forever. And just not forgetting that.
Yes. Thank you. That's such a great perspective, a great way of looking at that, and not having that unnecessary guilt.
Yeah.
So that leads me into our last question. What is it that you feel you need Jesus to do in your life? And as Pastor Jeremy asked that question, what came to your mind in response to that?
Yeah, so most of that is really along with that last question, is that remembering it, but also praying and asking God to help you remember that, and making sure that he's along with you in that journey. And I mean, because he's the one that did it, so he should be with you now. And yeah, he'll always be there. So just asking that he will help you out and be there for you.
I love that. Sometimes we can get so busy we forget. So we need to pray to remember.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we're going to invite Skyla on. All right. Welcome back, Skyla.
Thank you.
So with Pastor Jamie's question at the end of his message this morning, he said, what is it that you need Jesus to do in your life? So what came to your mind in response to that question?
Well, at first I was like, I don't really know. And then I started really thinking about it. And I was like, I need a reminder constantly that I am not alone in like being like isolated and like feeling like struggling and just like annoyed, I guess, because like I can't leave and I'm a really busy person. So for me to be home all the time is just like, it's hurting me because I want to be out and I want to be doing all these things and helping the community and like going to school. And so that's been really hard for me. So like the thing that I needed is need all the time is a reminder that I am not by myself in this, and it's not me, it's not my family, it's not my school, it's not my town, it's literally the entire world, and we're all struggling together. But the one thing about the struggle that's been so cool to see is that our world has like embraced the struggle, and is like this little light of hope. And I think it's the coolest thing that like I've been like holding on to. And so like that's like a good reminder for me, and like a good reminder for like that I just need to keep getting when I get annoyed with my siblings or with my family or just like being home in general, is like there is a positive outcome to this eventually. We just have to get through it before we can see it all. So yeah.
Thank you for that reminder. I definitely think sometimes we forget we're stuck at home. We're by ourselves sometimes. But to remember that the whole world was struggling through this. And thank you for sharing, you know, a reminder that, yeah, like it's so cool to see on Facebook and Instagram and everything that like people are embracing the struggle and they're like rising to the occasion and showing that little light of hope to everybody. I think that's such a great thing to remind us about, Skyla. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. All right, guys. So that recaps our message, and I hope that that just something strikes you and something stays with you, and helps to give you a little bit of hope in this quarantine. And so I want to end with reading a couple of verses from the song that we heard this morning called "Watch What He Will Do." It says, "Bring your shadows, every shackle, lay them down at the empty tomb. Bring your stresses, every question, lay them all down at the empty tomb. Watch what he will do. Watch what he will do. If he conquered the grave, there's nothing too great. Watch what he will do." See, the power of Jesus is so much bigger than our doubts, our questions, our mistakes, our guilt. If you've never heard this message of hope before tonight, maybe you're hearing it in a new way, please reach out to us. Maybe send a DM to us. If you have our numbers, text us, reach out, send us a message, and we will connect with you. And one of our pastors or leaders would love to talk with you and talk about what it means to experience this life with Jesus, and be free of that guilt that we're feeling. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We can't wait to see you until Wednesday on our life groups. We start at 7 p.m. And if you're not hooked up in a life group and you want to join us on Wednesday nights at 7, DM us again, and we would love to connect you with a group. So thank you so much, Ben, Skyla, and Justin, for hopping on this live feed and sharing how the message hit you today, and just diving deeper into it to spread hope and joy to those that are watching. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great rest of Easter. Anyway, have a good one, guys.